happening today at NICT Innovation Hub in Nakawa is the High Impact Dialogue, where we're going to have amazing women talking about how we can leverage opportunities for leadership. My name is Nabifo Wamunga. I'm one of the panelists. It's organized by CBM Brothers Media in partnership with so many amazing companies that are pro-women. Come learn. This is the event as we end March, the month of women. Come, let's learn about leveraging opportunities for leadership. Let's learn, let's share, let's grow. See you there. Yeah, I know it's afternoon, the energy is a bit low, but I'm excited to be here. I'm Nabifo Wamunga. People are like, what name should we call you? You can call me Nabifo, you can call me Wamunga, you can find a short version that suits you. I know we have a former queen here, but I also answer to queen mom, queen, yeah. Any royalty title, I'll answer. But I'm excited to be here. I'm a lawyer by profession, but currently a full-time entrepreneur. Currently, I'm passionate about all things motherhood and how to make the motherhood experience better, especially for the modern African mother. So I'm solving for, I see a mom over there, I salute you. And currently I'm solving for ways in which we can lessen the burden on the modern African mom. And we are doing that under the umbrella of a marketplace, which is aggregating sellers of maternity and baby products, putting them on one platform such that a mom or a parent has only one place to go. You're not running all over the place or, trying to figure out. And the content that we do is around that, as well as we support community initiatives that support either working women, women who are transitioning into motherhood, and new mothers. So right now, for those who are future mothers, should you decide to become a mom, just know there's a place that's already been set up where you can find everything that you need. You don't have to run all over the place. That's what we are here for.
Thank you. How exciting is it to have a perspective from today? Okay, we need to give it to Haina to tell us.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip. Hooray. Hey. Banai. All right. So my name is Arinaitwe. I'm a multimedia journalist, solution journalist, working with UBC TV. I have a show called Your Space in collaboration with the Office of the IGG. It airs every Sunday, 5 p.m. I am also a founder of a movement called Art for Change, where we use art and content creation to tell stories in regards to quality education and also climate education, climate action. I'm also a social media consultant working with a number of brands. So if you're somebody looking at trying to build your digital presence, please, let's talk after here. And I'm also a content creator. I love content creation. If you follow me on my social media handles and you're looking for somebody who can inspire you, please do follow me, Arinaitwe, on all platforms. So that's basically who I am. I'm excited to have been invited here and to share with you about my experience, about my story, and yeah, we'll network as we go along.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Just in that very moment. Please, Jessica, Sheillah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The energy is quite low. Is it the AC? My name is Jessica Sheillah Aanyu Ogeuna, and I am the CEO of Miss Tourism Teso. Miss Tourism Teso is a platform, a beauty pageant that is here to redefine pageantry. Our main mandate is to promote tourism in Teso and to use that platform to empower young women to understand and have a better understanding of who they are, to define their purpose, to define what they want to do with themselves, and also use their talents to create change in their communities. Besides that, I'm a co-founder of Trees for Life. Trees for Life is an initiative that is big on restoration of planting trees, simply planting trees for climate action. And our goal is to plant 25 million trees in Teso. How many of you have been to Teso? Sorority, Kumi, okay, nice to meet you all. Our place is extraordinarily hot, and this is mainly due to the low tree cover. So far, Trees for Life has planted over 180,000 trees in Teso, and we are still going. It's still very minute if you think of the goal that we are aiming to achieve. But you're all welcome to Teso, you're all welcome to visit, and I'm very delighted to be here to share my experience with young women because one, I'm a young person myself, I am a wife, I am a mother, so there's a lot to learn, and I'm very excited to learn about your platform. I look forward to engaging. Thank you for coming. Yes.
Thank you so much, Sheillah. Yes, how exciting is it? We have a queen in the room. I mean, we're having queens.
Yeah, queen.
But, okay, we're having actually, you're all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Might I correct myself? But I wanted this discussion to kick off right from this very point about younger versions of ourselves. Maybe you're 3 years. 3 years ago, Hannah, 3 years ago, Nabifo, and 3 years ago, Sheillah, what advice would you give to your younger self? Today's conversation is about how women can leverage opportunities and be leaders in the changing world. We have a leader in tourism. She's the CEO of Miss Tourism, and we have had a conversation with her. She took on this role in 2019. We have a leader in media. Hannah is just a recent graduate, right? And she is leading in her industry. She's influencing media. She's influencing social media in particular, but as well, she is a CEO of a great initiative or a great movement, right? So she is leading in her own field. But we are also having Nabifo Wamunga, a leader, a tech startup, might I say. That is Uzazi Hub, like she said, the marketplace for mothers. But the opportunities in these different sectors, if I consider media, or maybe that is because Art for Change are using content creation and media, and we are looking at tourism or climate change, and then we are looking at tech, or of course with a mix of motherhood. What are the opportunities, or maybe I want you to answer this question, giving us those opportunities, but as well, I want you to tell us what advice you would give to your younger self. Starting with Nabifo.
3 years ago, my eldest child is 5 years old, and the one who follows is 4 years old. So just 3 years ago, I was in the thick of it, thick of motherhood, and I had launched Uzazi Hub. So I launched Uzazi Hub when my oldest was less than a year old, and I was 8 months pregnant. That's when I started. The things I would tell that me, it's like just keep going, because it was really tough. But I'll rewind a bit further to talk about my younger self, because I've been in business for over 12 years. So when I was starting out in business, we tend to have that confidence internally, but it's like a hidden confidence. You know you can do it, but you're scared to say you can do it, right? Like you wouldn't take that first step if you didn't believe you could do it, but then you're scared of how it will be perceived and how you'll be taken seriously and how to speak about yourself, I think, right? So you have this business idea, you're trying to figure out, I was coming from the corporate world, practicing as a lawyer at a different law firm, and my first serious business was now branching off and starting my own legal consultancy, which then morphed into its own full law firm. And because I specialized in business law, commercial and civil litigation, and I'd been advising people for a number of years. And you would see that every time the person comes back, they've grown, and you're still at your desk. So I started thinking, maybe my advice, I need to start taking my own advice because people are moving. And my advice is primarily coming from textbooks. It's theory. I'm talking to a business person about business. I'm giving them business advice, but mine is coming from a textbook perspective, and they're actually listening to my advice and they're doing the thing, and it's working. So what am I still doing? Sitting here and you have this side hustle, then you have that side hustle. You're not fully committed. You know you can do it, but there's that fear of stepping out on your own. And what are you going to say, right? So giving that context, what I would tell that me who's thinking about fully stepping out on their own is, you know what to do. You know what to do. You've read enough books. You've watched enough YouTube videos. You've done enough preparation. Step out there. Let the world show you what's missing, what you don't know. There's no more things for you to read, because a lot of people get stuck in, how do I start? So they watch the YouTube videos of people giving tips and advice of how to start. They read the books. You're just stuck in that world of preparing to start. 3 years have gone by, you're still preparing to start, So my advice would be, you have the information. It's already inside you. God would not have shown you that vision if he had not already prepared the way. But you need to take that leap of faith. Step out. You see the first stair. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Step, and it will reveal itself in time, and you will know what you need in order to take the next step. And the other thing that I would say is, the person you're looking for is already there. Like that person who you're looking for, like, I need this person to help me. You have a description of the person, but you don't know who the person is, right? Like, I want to start my business, but you start and that person will appear, right? There's that famous quote of, once the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And it's true. Yes. It's true. But if you're still stuck in doing research, you will never step out. So just see the first step and take it and keep rolling, and you realize you actually know what to do. The instincts are there. The path has already been prepared. Otherwise, you would not have been given that vision, right? So that's the advice, that stop researching. You've researched enough. Get out there. Do the thing. The steps will appear. That's what I would say.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Nabifo. Yes, from that very moment, Hannah, how would you take that?
3 years ago, I think that was 2022, right? I was in my second year of university. I had just joined radio a year before, and I was a student of journalism and communication, asking herself how I was going to create a mark for myself in the industry, but also as an individual. I like what Nabifo has just said about just take the step. Like, things will materialize nga you're there. I think that is why so many risk takers have ended up becoming really successful people over the people who take their time and they're thinking. Like she said, they are researching, they are looking around, you're wasting so much time. And I think for me, I decided to just take the very first official step to look and chase after my dream. At that point, I was looking at not just doing radio, but also diversifying into TV. But I didn't have the money, I didn't have the connections, I didn't know anybody that was going to connect me to somebody to enter media. So I was like, what is the current open opportunity that I have at the moment that I can use to help me get to the next step? That was 3 years ago. And so I opened up my YouTube channel, and I was using my Infinix Note 7 then to record videos. Poor lighting, poor sound, poor everything, by the way. But one thing about me was that I was very consistent. I never missed a week of sharing my link. I see some of my classmates here, they can testify. I think they're like, we are tired of Hannah Arinaitwe. Every day she's sharing a link to her videos. We are not interested. But at least they knew that there was something that Hannah was doing. And somehow my link moved away from even my circle to somebody that watched it, somebody who actually had power. And I just found myself getting a phone call, and somebody was like, Hannah, I like what you're doing on your YouTube channel. Can we please meet up and talk? And I'm like, are you asking for me? Hannah, me? They're like, yes, I'm sure you're the one who does the bottom of it. Then you just go to the bottom of it. And by the way, you can just search on your YouTube and find out some of those videos. I'm one person who never deletes content. And you know, some people who like reach a certain level in their life and they feel like, I should only have perfect prism content about me released. You don't want people to see that back end of you where you were struggling and the hair was not giving. For me, I leave my content there because I need people to see how far I've come, so that they don't have a perfect picture of who Hannah Arinaitwe is. When they see me getting on a plane and going for vacation, they're like, Hannah began from there. She didn't. So 3 years ago, I decided to be very intentional about taking my journey seriously. I even joined leadership at university, became a guild leader. My career politics is not easy. I wouldn't call myself a politician. I like calling myself a leader, because a politician does so many crazy things to become a leader. Yeah, so that was my space 3 years ago. But one thing about even that confused was that I knew where I wanted to be. I just didn't know how exactly I was going to reach that position. So what would I advise Hannah of 3 years ago in 2022? Start sooner. I wish I started earlier than I did. Yeah? I wish I began like in 2020 when we're getting into the lockdown and everybody had no option but to be on their phone. I think I would be like at 1 million followers now, you know? But during that COVID time, I was also there watching other people doing their things, you know? So I would have advised Hannah to have begun earlier than I did. Yeah. So you guys should start now, Start now.
How amazing is that?
It is very,
you know?
Yeah.
You need to start now.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, Sheillah, Aanyu, please.
Thank you. So, my journey may be a little bit earlier than 3 years.
Yeah.
I have been working with Miss Tourism Teso for 6 years now. And my story began in 2017 when I took part in a pageant. So I wouldn't call myself someone that had always wanted to be a queen. I know a lot of girls think being a queen is something fancy, you know. You go to a place, everybody's looking at you, you're waving, and everything is just perfect in your world, right? Well, Jessica before that was a very closed person. I was a very introverted person. I was someone that liked to be by myself. I was someone that had very low self-esteem, that even when people see potential in you and tell you you can do it, you'd be like, no, it cannot be me. I cannot be the one. So a group of friends sent me a link and said, Jessica, you need to go and be part of this. I said, why? Why don't you go and do it? They said, we see something in you, and we think that if you went for this, it could open doors for you. It took other people to see who I was before I could see myself. I don't know about you, but I have met a lot of people who have no identity. They do not understand their strengths. They do not understand their capabilities. So that is one of the things that is even holding them back from starting to do whatever they have in mind. So I took part in Miss Tourism. I had about 2 to 3 people that had told about the whole plan, and then I was shocked on stage. They called my name as one of the winners, and it took like 4 seconds for it to register for me on stage. My neighbor had to nudge me. They called you. I was like, me? Yes. I was like, okay. So at that point, even while I was on stage, I did not believe that I was worthy to be there. So after a bit of time, I got to understand, fast forward, that one of the things that holds back our potential as women is self-doubt. We sit down there and think about all the wrong things that could happen. I don't know if it's nature or it's, a lot of people sit down and have a dream, a vision, something that they want to do, but instead of focusing on the positives, the impact, they will think about all the things that could go wrong along the way. So if I was to advise a younger me or anybody that is here that has not yet started, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Let not other people see your potential and you are unable to see it for yourself. Yes? All of us are queens. Whenever someone says, this is a queen, you get attention, right? If I'd walked in here like any other person and I was not queen, no one would be excited to see me walk here or even want to listen to what I had to say. But if I stepped in here and I'm like, my name is Queen Jessica, everyone is like, oh, tell us about yourself. You do not have to have a title. I always tell this to the participants that come through for Miss Tourism Teso. You do not have to have a crown or a sash or have a title bestowed upon you for you to be able to do something great. You are already great the way you are. So one thing I would say is that as a young woman, it is very important for you to see yourself. It is very important for you to identify and understand your purpose, to understand your strengths, and how you can use them to change this world, and you will be unstoppable. When you have belief, my 6-year-old daughter she baffles me a lot because I don't know if it's the influence of growing around the queens, while we're having trainings, she's always there with us. She walks into the mirror, stands and looks at herself and says, oh, I am so cute. She comes and speaks to you with all the confidence in this world. As a child, when we are growing up, we do not have standards on how beauty must be, right? Everyone is beautiful. You cannot tell a child you're ugly and they understand what you mean, because what do you mean? I have feet, I can walk, I have my arms, I can do anything. So get back to your inner child, get to understand who you are, get to love yourself, get to appreciate yourself, get to know your strengths. What you are able to do is just, I don't know how to say it, that if you know who you are, you can do anything. And nobody will make you see it besides yourself. You just have to sit down and tell yourself every single day, I am amazing. I am beautiful, I can do anything. I usually tell myself I can do everything and anything because I have Christ in me. So I do not fear for anything. I will always step out. Even when I am not ready, I will step out. The readiness will get me on the way because I believe in myself so much. So as a young person, there's so many opportunities in every field, in tech fields, in journalism, in tourism, in farming, the world is global. Everything is an opportunity. But if you do not believe in yourself, you will not do anything. So that is what I would say.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Yes, thank you. Today the conversation is about how women can leverage their opportunities and be leaders in the changing world. Right. Very many young people receive all these amazing opportunities be coming to them. There are people who are very blessed and they have opportunities coming to them each time and then. But there are people, opportunities keep coming to them, but they do not realize it's an opportunity. Or opportunities come to them, but they do not actually take the initiative to utilize them to their advantage. How did you, Hannah, I want to start with you. How did you identify the opportunities that came to you and use them to get to where you are today?
There is a statement you said, there are some people who are blessed and opportunities keep coming to them. I used to be one of those people who used to say, oh yeah, they're blessed. For them, they're ever getting the word. Everything is theirs. They have everything is theirs, Until I became that person who people are saying is blessed and opportunities just fall and come to them. I will tell you that there's nobody who just gets opportunities. You must be a certain kind of person for those opportunities to come to you. So opportunities just never come. You have to be ready. You have to prepare yourself for when those opportunities come, you're able to do what? To grab onto them. So your question was, how did
you identify the
How did I identify?
When
Now, this is why it's good for you. This is why it's good for people to network and have friends and make friends. One of my very first biggest opportunities was being part of a fellowship program. Now, I didn't even know what fellowship programs are. Does anybody here know what a fellowship program is? Anybody? So a fellowship program is a fully sponsored, huge opportunity where you get free training, free connections to amazing industry leaders wherever, all over the country, all over the world, all over East Africa, blah, blah, blah. So in 2021, one of my friends from high school, who is actually here, gives me a call and says, "But Hannah, I have a friend of mine who I be seeing doing some media things and she seems to be thriving." And I'm like, "What media things are those that you're seeing?" She's like, "I don't understand what it is, but do have this phone number, give her a call and find out what it is." Yeah? So this was an opportunity that came to me. I didn't even know at that particular point it was a what? It was an opportunity, but I decided to just take on this very tiny lead and see where it does what? It takes me. Now, this friend would never have shared that information with me if I never portrayed any traits of somebody who is interested in building and developing themselves in the media sector. 1. Number 2, I reached out. Some of us are here, there's a certain opportunity you want, and there's somebody you're seeing that is in that space, but you're not reaching out to them. You're missing out. So I reached out. And I asked the questions of, "Oh, I see you're doing this, this, and this. Can you please give me more information about it?" Number 3, you're now getting the information about that particular opportunity you feel like you necessarily want to be a part of. And so she shares the opportunity with me. I get to understand it. I apply for it. It was the Media Challenge Initiative Fellowship. It's in fact, I think it should be among the very first fellowship opportunities for young journalists in the country. So I do apply, thanks to them, and I go through. And even at that point, I still didn't understand how huge of an opportunity it was until I entered. And I got to understand, I'm in the right place at the right exact time. So somebody out there would have seen me posting, I've been accepted to this fellowship. And then they're like, that one just gets. Kumbe, not knowing what's happening, What's happening behind the scenes. So sometimes you may not know that this opportunity is going to take you further, but be open to finding out and understanding, okay, I hear about something like this. Let me just read and find out about it. You're reading about it. Okay, let me apply. Some of us are people who fear rejection. I think for me, I've been rejected to the extent that even when you reject me now, I yawn and move on. You know? Because I know you cannot reject Hannah Arinaitwe 100 times. I'm sure on the 99th time you'll be like, what? This girl is so persistent. Let me just say yes. Yeah? So some of us are closed off to being rejected. You've applied for so many things, but they are not accepting you. You've applied so many jobs, they are not saying yes, and now you feel like you should just give up. You know? You must be persistent. So that's how I got into this entire fellowship program, and now I was exposed to the media world. Suddenly I was being invited to networking events. Suddenly I was being asked to do this, to do that. Somehow things began to make sense. But that would not have been my story if I wasn't somebody open to finding out, trying out, just listening, taking the step to apply. You know? So this could be applied in your different situations, not just in mine. Yeah? One of the things I love preaching about are fellowship programs, guys. There are such amazing opportunities. I don't want to overtalk, but there are such amazing opportunities to meet so many people. And these programs are available in every field of your work. Whether you're a medicine student, whether you are in engineering, whether you are in oil and gas, start to look out. I tell you, there are so many billionaires, millionaires who don't know what to use their money for, that they are just saying, let us just invest in young people to learn and to explore and bring their ideas to life. Yeah? But I really wish we could start looking out for such opportunities, because there are so many. So many. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Yes. I want to go to Nabifo. What, in regards to that question, would you tell the young women in the room, and young gentlemen in the room as well?
Yeah, I think Hannah really captured the journey from the moment that something shows up, and being curious and following through. There's also another famous quote that says, opportunity normally comes hidden behind hard work. So sometimes you see something, it looks hard, it looks like you have to take time to understand it, and then you just abandon it. You're like, I don't get that, So curiosity, leads you from one step. Just following your curiosity is a good way. Most opportunities, that's how they come. You don't know that it's an opportunity. You have no clue that it's an opportunity. That's why you have to take that first step in that direction of, because if you hadn't made that phone call, none of that would have followed through. So a lot of us step away from hard work, step away from taking time to understand what the thing is, following through, and that's how we miss out on opportunities, just because we don't want to find out or be curious or lean in. You see something, you're like, that's for this type of person,
There.
That's it. That's for this type of person. But guess what? You also want to be that type of person. If you're to really sit down and talk to yourself, you want to be that person who I realized a lot of people who spend a lot of time in negative energy. They're in negative energy as a coping mechanism because they don't see how they want that thing that they're speaking negatively of. Right? They're like, that one, she's a Namikolo, that one, she's a this, But deep down, they actually want to be that, but they're too scared to find out what it takes to be that, or because they're stuck in negativity, they don't see the thing. There was this experiment that was done about lucky people who consider themselves lucky and people who consider themselves unlucky, like things happen to those people, right? They put a newspaper and they told them to find out, to tell them how many pictures were in the newspaper. Now on the second page, in bold letters, big, the entire second page was, there are, I can't remember the number, but I'll make up a number. There are 12 pictures in this newspaper. The entire page was, there are 12 pictures in this newspaper. That was the entire second page. So they gave the newspaper to the people who considered themselves lucky. Everyone who considered themselves lucky saw that second page. They gave it to the people who think they're not lucky and things don't happen to them. None of them saw. They were busy counting. They skip because they see words. They're looking for picture. So they skip anything with words. They're just looking for the pictures to count. You see how opportunity misses? Because you're not looking for it. So that experiment says a lot about how we view ourselves impacts how we experience the world. So if you think you're unlucky, guess what? You will be unlucky. If you think you're lucky, guess what? You will be lucky. So you have to actually change your mindset and start from a delusional point. There's nothing to prove that you're lucky, but just by thinking you're lucky, then you start viewing the world in a different way, and that opens up. You can imagine the entire second page, but someone saw words and just skipped. You see, and they were not understanding how the lucky people were not finishing the newspaper, but they were getting the correct answer of how many, So that's how we miss opportunities. They're normally right in front of us, but we are not using the right lens. And it starts with believing that you're worth it, that you're lucky, good things happen to you, And then just like that, you can start from a point of disbelief, but just saying it, because the brain works on repetition. The more you repeat something, the more it's like how driving, for those of you who can drive, how often do you think, now I need to change to this gear? Now it's automatic, but how did it start? From practicing, or even riding a bicycle. You don't think now the pedal must go down. Now it must go up again. Those are things for when you're beginning. And then now you just get on a bicycle and so repetition makes a difference. So if we can just start, if you can forget everything else that was said today and just start considering yourself lucky and someone who good things happen to, that's a very good first step, because then your lens begins to change and you start beginning to see things from a different perspective, and that's how the doors begin to open and you start getting all these amazing things that look like hard work, but they end up being opportunities. Because doing an application, oh my God, you can die on question number 2. They're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you're like, I don't know what I'm eating for supper. How can I make for 5 years? And like that, you don't finish the application.
Yeah.
And you lose that opportunity because you're like, how can I, they're telling me to write 2 paragraphs about myself, and you just stay there. And yet, if you think you're lucky, you'll remember, oh yes, there's Chat GPT. Let me start from there. Let me put, I have been asked this. You put exactly, and you have a starting point. You know? So it's just a perspective. It's just a perspective change. Nothing in your life, I liked saying this because I heard it from someone, and once I started applying it, I realized it was true. Nothing in your life right now needs to change for you to be successful. Nothing outside of you. Nothing outside of you needs to change. Your parent can still belittle you, your friends can still hate you, and you can still succeed as long as you focus on yourself. The only person who needs to change is you for your circumstances to change. No one else. Nothing else. You can still be in this room right now, but you just change the way you see yourself. And your life changes without doing any work at all, just by changing how you think and how you see yourself. And now a page cannot miss you, because you're now tuned to a different perspective. Yeah, so bottom line, how we speak to ourselves matters, how we view things. And it's important because if you're not good to yourself, how do you expect people to be good to you?
Something is itching.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw you. When you have that inferiority complex about yourself, when you don't believe in yourself, sometimes you think you can be pretending and nobody can see it. But I promise you, everybody can see that this one doesn't believe in what they are doing, doesn't love themselves. Even when you try to pretend like you are confident, but deep down, things are not what? Things are not okay. And when you change your mindset, even the way you start doing your things changes naturally. Like she said, nothing has to really change outside. But like once you start believing that I am that girl, somehow your body movement may even change. From walking like this, somehow you start to walk like this because you're saying, like, I'm that girl. From speaking like, my name is Hannah, to now, my name is Hannah Arinaitwe. Because now you believing that what? I am Hannah. So that mindset shift is very, very important. Believing that you have the power to change your destiny. Not all the time, oh, you're really lucky. Oh, you comes from a rich family. Oh, sometimes your perception of people is not even correct. You think they come from a rich... I have a friend of mine who's traveled the world. She's met the president. You could think she has it all. And everybody thinks that she genuinely comes from one of the richest families in Kampala. But that girl comes from a very mediocre family. Everybody else sees, she's never on a plane. Kumbe where she comes from is not that what? Not that sweet. Right? So stop that perception of, and focus on you. Focus on you.
And I actually love when you say that, because when you see somebody the first time, you can have a perception of them based on how they look, on how they speak. Like you said, we need to separate ourselves from our backgrounds, our histories, the people that we've grown up with, our experiences. I grew up in a barracks. I remember the first time I went for Yali, it was the first time I actually used a plane. And then we were having conversations, and then I was like, it was really interesting being in the plane for the first time, and someone said, stop being modest, you're just being very humble. I said, what do you mean? And they told me, you look like you've traveled the whole world. I was like, Why? Your background does not define you. The schools you've gone to do not define you. Where you live does not define you. Your tribe does not define you. Your experiences do not define who you are. Maybe I'm already getting into answering the question already.
Yes,
But for me, one thing that I have seen very many young people go through in my training or facilitations with or interactions with the queens is that very many young women do not know what they want to do, and it is okay. We grow up in a system where we are raised to be certain people. Yeah? You grow up and your parents are telling you, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a pilot. So you go to school, you're saying, I have to be a doctor, I have to be a lawyer, I have to be a pilot. We are not raised to understand or to know who we are or what we want to do at a very young age. That by the time someone is at university, they have a degree, but they do not even know or even want deeply. If you get to have like a conversation with these people, they don't even want to do those things that they are doing. Growing up for me, I remember changing combinations 5 times in my senior 5. I was called to the Director of Studies office. What is your problem? I told them I need to figure out what I want to do. I do not feel like I fit in this combination. My parents called me and asked me, what is your problem? You're supposed to be a doctor. You're very intelligent. You have straight A's in class. You can do this. I said, yes, but I do not want to do it just because I can perform well. I want to do something because I fit in it. Yes? I got into university and I had to choose a business course over an engineering course, and my parents wanted to run mad. Why? The whole world revolves around engineering and sciences. Why are you opting for this? I remember telling my father, I appreciate that you wish so well for me, but this is not what I want to do. I do not fit in that particular career or bracket or box. So very many young women that I've worked with will tell you, I want to do this, but my parents want me to do this, and I do not know how to talk to them about what I want to do and how to get there. So people are very uninterested in the opportunities that are there because they are not particularly passionate about what things they are doing at that time. So it is okay to not know or figure out what you want to do. Some people get it fast. Others take time to figure out what they want to do, where they want to stay, what career paths they want to follow. And it is all okay. Just do whatever you have to do. If it's doing three things at a go, do those 3 things at least, and then start cutting things out. Say, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. Then focus on that which you feel gives you more satisfaction. When you do the things you love, Hannah does the things she does because she loves them. And when you do the things you love, you will look for the opportunities. And those opportunities, when they come, you will be able to see them because that is what you are preparing yourself for. So in a space like ours, do whatever thing comes your way until you figure out that thing which resonates with you, and then give it your whole. She mentioned one of the famous quotes I like to use, that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you are ready, the opportunities will find you. She was already doing what she was doing. Her friend called, who is not even part of her space, and said, Hannah, I think there is something that you can do, because she already saw that Hannah was ready for it. So put yourself out there. Another thing I like to share with our queens is that mediocrity that makes loud noise beats perfection that is silent. Yeah?
Clap for that, guys. Clap for it. Repeat.
That mediocrity that makes loud noise will beat perfection at any given time. You can be an amazing speaker, an amazing architect, an amazing journalist, but if you do not put yourself out there, for me that is making mistakes and making a lot of noise, I will be better than you by far, because people will correct me, I will learn from the experiences, I will keep polishing myself, and I will take those opportunities that you're waiting to find you in your perfection. So at all times, in whatever thing you do, put it out there. The world is watching. The world is watching. And the media is, like Hannah says, this world is now a global space. A mere video can change your life. A video can change your life. A post, a publication, a story can change your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Sheillah, Hannah, and Nabifo. You mentioned that quote. I love it so much. It just reminded me of we were in a conversation and they were sharing about, this is from a business perspective. Many startups have good products, but they distribute them poorly. You find a startup that has a bad product, but it's distributing it right. Everything is just right, but the product is so poor, and it's working out. So I love that point so much. Yes, thank you so much again. The topic today also has a concept of the changing world, and I love how you're inputting this. You're putting this into society as well. Women have been placed in this. We've been made to look like we are, less of men. Maybe the fields that we've decided to be in, media or tourism, that is events as well. Then entrepreneurship, men are dominating these spaces. How do you actually? I want to ask this question to you first. How did you go and, after the opportunity came to be a CEO of Miss Tourism TESO, how did you now decide to push through the men-dominated industry and decide now, okay, however much there is this happening, I want to be a part of it and actually lead in it?
One thing I will stress again is confidence, believing in yourself. I'm a very small person. I'm very petite, and sometimes people don't take me seriously based on appearance. Yes, there are some people that stand and then you want to listen to them because when they stand, they look authority. And there is Jessica that walks into the room, and before someone introduces me or asks me to sit somewhere, they think this is somebody that is maybe here to listen or say. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, I am a girl. I am 20, in my early 20s, 21, 22. And I move into events in my community that is predominantly a men's place. But I decided to be what they call big-headed. Yeah? I knew what I wanted. I was not someone you could put down. I would speak to people, schedule meetings on phone. Hello, can we meet? Yes. What do you want to discuss? This and this and this. I have a proposal. And yes, someone is very excited to meet the CEO of Miss Tourism TESO. And then when I get into the room, they look at me and I'm like, hello, my name is Aanyu Jessica and I'm here to meet you. And they're like, you're the one. I look them in the eye and be like, yes, I am the one. That, okay. So you sit, and then if someone is not belittling you, they are trying to hit on you. Wow, you look nice. So you're a queen. What does it mean being a queen? So are you single? Tell us about yourself. At that point, I had to show them that I am more than just the outlook. Yes? So that will bring me again to the point that people will treat you based on how you treat yourself. The value you put on yourself is the value people will place on you. That if you come to a place and you tell them that this is who I am, they will take you as that. If you come to a place and you are afraid to speak, you're afraid to express yourself, nobody will assist you. You'll not get the attention that you need. And you may not be able to achieve what you want. So in my space, I had to be very, very disciplined, one, because again, being a woman, it's easy for people to want to do favors for you in exchange for yourself. So you want something so badly, this person can give it to you on condition that they maybe have relations with you, but is it worth it? You think about it. You can look at it short term, but then you can also look at it long term. How many people do I need to engage with for me to be able to achieve? So I had to have a certain level of discipline. Two, I had to be very stern. When you have principles, when you have values, when you carry yourself a certain way, people will respect you. And then three, persistence. I don't know if there's anyone who has a story of an initiative that they started and it just went like this. It took me 3 years for Miss Tourism Teso to stabilize to a point where I am not having to look for partners, where I do not have to advertise for people to come to my event. 3 years of breaking even. You just want to break even for you to be able to stand. So persistence, knowing what you want, discipline, and prayer. I don't know if we have people who believe, but in this life, there is more to the eye. That we are fighting not just with ourselves or with the physical. There's so much that goes on in the background. And you need to pray for yourself, pray for your businesses, pray for whatever endeavors you're doing, and you will have. You cannot fail, really. You cannot fail. Yes. Regardless of if you're a woman or a man. I know men have the similar challenges, but for us it comes... Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hania, in your industry, media, have you seen that happening? Like, that men dominancy? If it has happened to you, how have you actually...
Yeah, the industry is male dominated. I think every media house is being led by a man. Even in the newsroom, you'll find more men than women, mostly because women sometimes are looked at as fragile and gentle. You're going to send Raymond Tamale to go and record the Kawempe North election, but you will not send Hannah. What if she falls down and maybe loses a breast or something? So that is very common. But I just really wish that as women we stopped over-talking. Not over-talking. It's okay to talk about it, but like dwelling on that aspect day in, day out. Something happens, it's a male-dominated world. Kumbe, you are late to work, but now you're blaming the male boss for who comes early. As a woman, once you understand that it's an unfair world and you have to work 3 times harder, I'm sorry, but you have to actually work 3 times harder. That's just the reality of life. Most people ask me, Hannah, what challenges have you gone through? And to be honest, I've gone through so many challenges, but I barely talk about the challenges too much because I'm somebody who just moves on to the next thing. Yes, this has happened. It's so unfair, but nobody has time to sit down and listen to how unfair it is. Maybe your friend. Maybe I'll call Jessica and be like, you girl, today so and so happened. But the faster you understand that it's an unfair world, the faster you start to just work 3 times. Find a way to make it what? To make it work. And you know, sometimes when I say that, people say, Hannah, but that is not how things should be. It is true. Things should not be like that. Nah, yeah. It is how they are what? It's how it is. Yes, so deal with it. And once you are in that space now, as a woman, start to find ways to support other women in that space. But for you, you're there, you fought all the odds, and now you are there, you are queen. You don't want to help anybody up, you are relaxing. Forgetting how you reached there. That is why if somebody calls me and says, Hannah, can I please jump on a quick call with you? I need us to talk about this. I will stop and jump on that call with them. If they say, Hannah, I want you to come and speak up on the high impact dialogue, even when you know, it's a tight schedule, I will say I will come and share. I will come and see how to collaborate. One of the sessions I had here last year was with Link Space Career Academy. And one of the people who was attending was a woman called Mutoni. And she had her skincare business. She was just starting. She was a bit scared about it, you know. And she made herself and said, Hannah, I think you are somewhere compared to me in regards to the digital space. Can we work together? Can we collaborate together so that I create some sort of like audience for my brand and for my products, my skincare products? And I said, yeah, let's work together. We worked out a plan, signed a contract, decided to work together. Right now, I think she's overwhelmed with like orders. I even have to call her 10 times to give me an order, right? So after you've gone through so many of these challenges, like be open to helping somebody, be open to sharing your knowledge, be open to supporting anyway. It doesn't have to be money all the time. You know, sometimes some of you say, Manamo, I have no money, and you want people to give you money. Sometimes there is no money. Sometimes I can support you in other ways.
A like on a video.
Yeah, a like on a video, a share, a repost, a something. Yeah? So that goes to those who have already reached there. Sometimes when you're not really there, but you are somewhere, somewhere more than what somebody is, support. Yeah? It's a harsh world out there, guys. Without support as women, it's really harsh. People always make that comment of, why do women always sabotage or backstab fellow women? Maybe today I can get an answer. Women, why do we backstab and sabotage one another? Some of us are even wondering why we backstab our friends. I just really wish for that that mentality to what? We can all win, by the way. We can all be bosses driving Range Rovers, sports, and it's okay. Yeah? So it's a harsh world. Yes. That is why for me when somebody calls me and says, Hannah, I want us to speak about the challenges. I'm just like, you call somebody else to talk about the challenges. I have no energy. I have no energy in me to speak about problems. And that's why I always tell people, I'm a multimedia journalist, but also a solution journalist. There is no story I've ever covered personally that is just focusing on Ebizibu. Yeah, okay, that's the problem. Great, all right. So how are we solving it, or how are we solving it? I said, say, Hannah, you're too positive. Somebody told me in Goba, Hannah, your positivity will kill you one day. I said, really? Does positivity kill? What? I mean, so far I'm breathing.
How does it happen?
Our positivity annoys people.
And that's what?
It tempts them to do what? I mean, right now I'm here. I am looking good. I'm feeling good. I'm making money. And I'm still positive. I've not been killed. So, behavior guys, me don't ask me about challenges. Edna, when I came for the interview did I tell you that me don't ask me about challenges?
Yes.
Yes, they happen. I talk about them. But how are you able to overcome them? That should be the focus of the conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Nabifo, adding on to that conversation happening right now, I want you to share with us as well, how can we support women in leadership while also strengthening family structures?
Yeah, that's a very powerful question. And yes, challenges do exist, and a lot of us as women want to use that crutch of I'm a woman, I'm in a male-dominated space. I mean, okay, that's something you can't change. Okay, in today's world you can change if you want to, but it's illegal in Uganda. So, being that you are a woman and you cannot change, focus on the things you can change, which is you cannot change that the world is unfair. You cannot change that you're a woman. You cannot change that we are in a male-dominated, we are in a man's world and we are women just living in it. So what can I change? I can change my attitude. I can change my perspective. I can change, how I view something as a problem or as a solution. How do we support women into leadership and in family structures? The world is rigged against us. A lot of women, and as a fellow mom, I didn't hear if you are a mom yet.
I'm still a baby.
Yeah, so should you decide, I mean, because it's your choice, but should you decide to become a mom and you're working, all of us, when we're still young, we don't care or we don't think. If you told me, even 5 years ago before I decided to get pregnant, if you told me motherhood, I'll just switch off, So I don't blame you for switching off when I'm talking about motherhood, but I'm passionate about it right now and we are in the present, And when you're a woman transitioning into motherhood, you think, because motherhood has been there since Eve, since time immemorial. So we all have this perception that it's a solved area. When I become a mom, you go here, you go there, you do this, you do that. And then when you become pregnant, you realize, oh my God, everybody's just winging it.
The things they don't warn you about.
Yes, there's no manual. And even if they were to warn you, they cannot warn you about everything because each person's experience is unique. How you come into this world from the moment you're conceived, your journey is unique, So, and even I had a troubled first pregnancy. So when people are telling me the next one will be okay, I'm like, excuse me, which next one? Because I thought this is the situation, So you're transitioning into motherhood. You realize the world is rigged against you. If you're in employment, your employer is already looking at you like you're a dead asset, right? Because you have to go away, what is their plan for the time? If you have a crucial role, how are they going to work it out? And if you go yourself, you're worried, am I coming back? Is there space for me to come back? And the world of a working mom is rigged against you. If I was employed when I went through my journey, I would be fired by now, for sure, because I was the worst employee in the business. I mean, I spent the whole 4th month of my first pregnancy in hospital. So how is that helping the job? It's not. So if you're the employer, you're like, am I going to pay a salary for someone who's not present? And then when you go to give birth, a lot of career women, myself included, we are scared to become a mother because how does that impact our career, right? So we take long to become mothers because we are scared of what it will do, and rightly so. And a lot of us look at our moms our friends who take that plunge and they become different people. And we are scared of becoming different. And then when you have the child, you realize you're no longer who you are, but you're not yet who you're supposed to be. You're stuck in limbo. You don't know who you are anymore. You used to love clubbing, now you don't even want to know anything about hanging out or whatever, You used to like waking up early. Now, even if you loved it, the baby kept you up all night, You're lucky if you're up and trying to work. And then you've given birth to this thing, which is now the most precious thing in your life. And you have to go back to work. What? You have to leave this most precious thing in your life and go back to be able to put food on the table. How do you get over that trust of I'm bringing in a maid from God knows where to take care of my child, which is my role as a mother, to now go and work to take care of this? It's a contradiction in itself. So all that is mental health, which is not spoken about. They talk about mental health as pregnancy and all that. You have to be in the right frame of mind, blah, blah, blah. But after you give birth, you're just like in this dead space. You have to put food on the table. You're now part of a family. You've left your family, you've started another family. And what's the smallest unit of society? It's family. So without the smallest unit, which is a family, society cannot exist. But are there structures to support this family? They're not there. You have to make it up as you go along. And that's why women are rightly scared, because they don't know how they're going to do it. And that's how entrepreneurship actually comes in. A lot of women become entrepreneurs after giving birth and realizing that the employment structure cannot favor. I can start my little shop and show up every day with my baby. I can get a stall in a market and show up every day with my baby. But can I go to work and show up with my baby? So it's very important for women to understand that yes, it's complicated. Yes, it's difficult if you choose to take that leap into motherhood while you're working. But even if it's hard, it's doable. People have done it, and success leaves clues. If you look at all the successful women who are mothers, they cannot talk about their success without bringing in that motherhood angle and bringing in how they built their support structure. Because you cannot do it alone. Even if you are surviving as a single, successful career woman, once you become a mom, you realize you cannot do it alone. You need that community. You need to build your own support structure. And because there's no current copy and paste, it has to move according to you, who you are, how you do your things. And before I became a mom, I was already in business, and I used to call my business my baby. This is my brain. People are like, because I gave birth after I turned 30. So people are like, when are you giving us a child? When are you that pressure? And I'd be like, you see this business? That's my baby, But I didn't have a baby, so I was so clueless. I didn't know what I was talking about, Then when I actually had a child, I realized, oh my God. Yes, there are many parallels. There are many things that are similar with becoming a mother and starting a business, but there are two different things. And because I was not a mom, I had a very narrow understanding of what motherhood means. I thought it was like a ball and chain. Like once you have your kid, you're stuck. You cannot move. You cannot take opportunities. You cannot. So that's what I did with my business. Opportunities would come, but I'd be like, I can't leave my baby. Who's going to make sure the money comes in? Who's going to make sure? Like I was, like it was a trap. My businesses pre-motherhood were like traps, like it's like I set my own trap and I'm now stuck in it because I don't truly understand, Then you become a mom and you realize I can move with my baby. It's not the end of the world. You can call me to go speak in Mbale. I put my baby in the car and we go. Labor is still affordable in Uganda. You can have a nanny and a maid, and you do your thing. Like a baby is not the end of the world. Life still continues. So what I would say in this line of leadership and supporting family structures is for career women who are stuck on that intersection of should I become a mom or should I just focus on motherhood? Whatever you decide, it's your right and you should feel okay. Yeah, motherhood is not for everyone. But should you decide but you're scared, just know that it is possible. It's hard, but we are here doing it. It's hard, but we are here doing it.
Yeah.
You know? We are still showing up. We are still responsible. As I sit here right now, these guys know my kid is sick.
Oh.
My kid is sick. You know, we've been in and out of hospital for the last 6 weeks. But does that mean that I really get my responsibilities? No. Does my kid know that I love her and I'll be there for her if I got a phone call, even as we are sitting right now, you know? Someone who helps me is holding my phones. If that specific phone call comes, I'll stand up and say thank you, and I go. Because that's my priority. But is it stopping me from being here right now?
No.
No. Is it stopping me from getting to meet all the amazing people, getting new connections, new networks, learning new things? It's not. It's just how do you integrate the two? If anything, it's enriching. It makes your life richer because you have purpose and you understand what you're doing. Before you are just working for the money and for the prestige and for the fame. Now you have direction. I'm working so that my kids can have a better life and a better experience than I did, right? And they can get to experience things earlier, you know? And yes, when I became a mom, I lost a lot of followers and, you know, people on social media because they're like, that one, she's all about motherhood and babies and kids, you know. But guess what? There are moms who are where I was when I was in the deep, dark stages of early motherhood. You're not who you were before. Mm-hmm. You're not yet who you're going to be. And you're stuck there. You're like, how am I bouncing back? And you see all these social media celebs who have a baby today and they're already in the club tomorrow. And you're like, no.
We listen.
I have not showered in 2 days. My hair is like that. How do they do it? You know, I've not slept in, you know, in 3 continuous days. How is this person doing it? You know, and it creates this unrealistic expectation. And remember, this is like a mental health game. You're not feeling your best. You're not feeling like you're performing to, and you're seeing people killing it, and you're like,
I can imagine.
So I do my content and I speak on such platforms to share with that me. That me 4 years ago, 5 years ago, who was in the thick of it, not knowing how I'm going to show up. I didn't even understand how people have time to, you know, get all dressed up and show up. You know, we're all in those long, free-flowing, you know, maternity pants, leggings, you know, you're just hanging on by a thread. You know, someone just needs to say the wrong thing. You've not slept. You feel like you're dying of malaria. You know, like you have this malaria. Someone just needs to say, what's that? And you just break down crying. You're like, I'm not enough. You know? And it's just because you're not yourself, you've not slept, and you're trying to do too much. Right? But help is there and help is available. So what we can do as leaders today and leaders tomorrow who are either thinking of transitioning as women into motherhood or are in the early stages of motherhood and trying to figure out, how do I bounce back? Forget about bouncing back, because bouncing back means like as a ball, when you go up, you know, you bounce back to where you are. Look at it as bouncing forward. You're bouncing forward. You're discovering this new person who you are. You're discovering what your priorities are now as a mother. You're already by being a mother, you're a leader. You're leading your household. You're leading this little kid. You're responsible for shaping this person's life. So you're already a leader, regardless of whatever else happens. So how do you carry yourself? I got this crazy, it's not crazy, but I got this mind-blowing statement that someone said, and I realized, oh my God, it's so true, and I am making the same mistake. We think as mothers that if we treat our kids like the best, that give them everything, that when they grow up they'll do that for themselves. No, they will treat themselves the way you treat yourself. And like my mind was blown because my mom was hardworking. She never focused on herself. She never, and those were the same things I've been perpetuating. Like you realize you're number 10 on your list. You're number 10 on your list of priorities. You're like, I have to finish this deadline. I have to do this thing. I have to make sure the kids are this. I have to take them for their immunizations. I have to do this for the husband. The husband has gone away for the weekend, so I have to, carry on these responsibilities of his. Up to number 10, where are you on that list as a person? Even as simple as making your favorite cup of coffee and waking up early, just to, watch the sunrise and feel good. You're not on that list. So it's about how we support these structures is letting one of the fundamental elements in these structures, who is the mother, know that she is seen, feel heard, feel appreciated, feel like she's supported. Give her the tools, and the rest is self-explanatory after that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nabifo. Yes. Once again, it's the High Impact Dialogue, and thank you to everyone who's listening online. This is an initiative by CBM Brothers, and we are at the National ICT Innovation Hub. So we've been hearing from our panelists, Jessica, Sheillah, Aanyu, Arinaitwe, and Nabifo Wamunga. I know we have very many questions coming on, right? In the registration form, we also had that section where we asked people to give us any questions if they had for the panelists. Now, right at this time, I want to give it to you, the audience, to share with us. What do you, give us your questions, or you tell us, you can supplement, I had my friend here, Katrina, she wanted to supplement on a point that the panelists had talked about. So this is just the time to take it on. Yeah?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Katrina, and I'm a co-founder of CBM Brothers. So, my friend Anna said something. When you get out, like when you've studied and you've succeeded, most of us women, we tend to hate on each other. So I just wanted to add on her point. These guys, wherever you are, and you're a woman, you're somewhere, and you see your fellow woman, stop hating on them, just support them. And there is something I've observed. Everywhere we are, we say men are dominant, but it's us giving them that dominance. You know that? Because in most cases we hate on each other. When you're at home, when we're at work, everywhere we go, we hate on each other. So I just suggest we start supporting each other. This thing, is it called girl empowerment? Like, we do it for each other, because today it's her and tomorrow it's you. You never know what the world has in store for us. And the other thing, someone mentioned about changing the mentality. Just today, whoever has mentioned that, you Queen, you've changed my mentality for real. Because I used to think for me to do something, I need to meet someone who's big, what, but now I've gone back to settings. I've restored my settings. Now I feel like the resources I have, I'm going to start from there and utilize them so that I can be somewhere where I want to be. Thank you. I don't know, it has worked for me, I don't know for others, but for me, it really worked for me.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing, let's stop blaming what is happening in our lives on others. In whatsoever situation that is happening in your life, stop blaming it on others. Let's just pull up our stockings and do better. Last but not least, as a woman, as a woman in this competitive world, just stand up as a woman and pull your stockings in whatever you're passionate about. And even if you fail, try again and again. Just keep on. Keep doing it. However much you fail, however much people put you down, keep doing it. And positioning yourself is really, really very important. Always be ready to attack. Because if she was not ready and if she had not started with her, if Nick's not 7 to start doing what she was doing, the friend wouldn't have called her. So the opportunity has to find you ready for you to receive it. You know? And lastly, you see, we say men are dominant, what, but as I said, it's us doing it. You look at them, they're disciplined and they scare us, but we can outcompete them. We can do it. So just, even if it takes you to do, like how she said, 3 times harder or 5 or 10, just do it. So, thank you once again. My name is Nabifo.
Thank you once again. I know now the questions are burning. I just going to... Okay. Yes, Nabifo.
Yeah, I just wanted to supplement on the thing of us women sabotaging each other and doing all these things to each other. What I can say is, we can say it, right? But it doesn't mean a thing unless you exemplify it, you know? So it will never change, or it will take a long time to catch on. But what you can do is be the change in your community. Show people how it's done. Support the woman next to you, right? And then also, if you ever really take time to analyze those saboteurs and haters, if someone is ahead of you, chances are high they don't even see you, they don't recognize you, they don't care. It's the people that you're ahead of who their eyes, because you're all moving this way, so you're in front of them, so they see you. So you who is being talked about, you need to take it as a compliment. Nobody who's doing important things, if you don't have haters, then you're really not doing much in life. Get yourself some haters, because you're not making an impact. Because if you are making an impact, you're definitely going to ruffle some feathers. You know, people who are trying to be an impact, but they don't know how to do it. So instead of figuring it out, they're spending time focusing on your negatives and trying to bring it out. So if someone is hating on you, take it as a compliment. It means you're doing something amazing. And if you don't have haters, get them today. I've given you permission. Right? And follow up, be the example. Be the example. The way Hannah gave a very good example, I can't even add on that, you know, but be that example of how women in leadership do it, right? We don't have time to talk about other people who are doing it, because we are doing it for ourselves. And those who are talking about us are just shining a light on what we are doing, right? Haters actually pay your bills. They're the ones who have time to follow your content. They're the ones who take time to learn where you are, what you're doing, and spread the word about you. So they're actually necessary for you to grow, because they're the ones, they're your audience.
Necessary for growth.
You know, they're your audience, the ones who are there, you know, giving you watch time, which is then monetizable.
Where did she stumble? When did she make a mistake?
And
then they repeat.
No, but when they comment, that's what's giving you more visibility. It's showing the algorithm that what you're doing is important. So we need them.
Yeah.
Our friends support us from afar. They don't have time for us because they are busy also making it.
Yes.
So it's the enemies who actually have the time for you. And the haters. So embrace it as a part of life. Always give them something new to say. If you've not given your hater some new content, please, after today, do something powerful so that they are remixing the same old story. Today, show them that there's more to you. There's more for them to hate. And embrace that where there's love, there will always be hate. It's just we gravitate towards the love, but we don't ignore that the hate is there. And if there is no polar opposite, that means you're not doing the right thing. Right? That means you're not making an impact. Right?
Yes.
So it's it goes back to how you look at things. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're there covering your head because someone said whatever about you, look at some of the current paid, social media. They became famous after something bad happened to them. And it's because they changed their perspective and spinned it that they turned it into now something amazing. If you're to look at how Kim Kardashian came into the public. But now she's a lawyer, she's setting people free. She's the highest paid, I think, social media. She's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. She has multiple businesses.
She's that girl.
Exactly. So the more you hate on her, you're looking for reasons why you should hate her. Guess what? She's getting paid because you're giving her watch hours. So stop being a hater and start being a congratulator and a person of impact. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, please. By the way, I request that hopefully, I'm going to request you when you're asking the question to come and stand maybe here or there. The microphones can pick your sound at least from this range.
Thank you. I'll just stand here.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. How are the ladies? The women of value. So you're all surprised seeing a man speaking in front of the ladies, right? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is George P. Wang, and I am a public speaker. I do help people like you to overcome their fears of speaking and help mostly women. And whatever income I get goes in paying children in school, and I'm so much pleased to be here. So I want to tell you something that the race to success is not about competition, but the race to success is the search you have inside you. Have you ever thought of a time when you need to compete with someone over something, but then you end up being on the losing end? So the race to success is not a competition. It's not about competing with men, but it's about competing with you, the inside you. Someone spoke about the mindset. I speak about the mindset of achieving greatness every time I go to schools, I meet corporate companies, and so on. If you accept your mind to be the lens that you view the world, you will definitely find your answer. Your answer is not very far, but the answer is in the silent moment that you take for yourself as a woman. So, based on the fact that I work with a woman-led organization in Guinea Conakry, the Jamila Foundation, I absolutely know what women go through. Now, my question is, my question will be going to Nabifo. Nabifo, thank you so much for the great insight that you've given us, actually. Women in the private sectors there are women who want to join the private sectors, but they have been denied chances several times. And we believe that looking at a country, for example, looking at a country like Rwanda, most of the women are being ignored to work in the mining sector. Do you all read that article? Most of them have been denied to work in the mining sector. Looking at a country like Guinea, I'm using Guinea because I am more familiar with them, women are being ignored to join the private sector because of the cultural norms and the leadership indifference of the male and women. So how would you, or what kind of strategies would you advise or give our ladies here who want to be part of the private sector and take on the leadership opportunities in the private sectors? So that's a question I pose to you. But ladies, I want to tell you that the road is clear if you believe inside you and if you accept your mind to be the lens that you view the world, and definitely you will be there. Thank you so much.
That is a very good question. And it's so funny because I grew up in my mom is a single mother who was very hardworking. And I used to see her wear, pantsuits and dress, very masculine until later in life. And and she always took up leadership roles. Of course, she dressed feminine in a masculine way. Anyway, in the early 90s, dressing like a man was like the in thing, the oversized jacket and all that. So when I started working and practicing law, subconsciously, I used to dress very masculine. I'd be like my power suit, I'd always be dressed in pants, I'd always be wearing, the jacket. I even used to, if you check all my earlier pictures, I was always in a tie, like my thing was like the tie, and even like the pin for the tie, like I used to dress like, with the high heels and the earrings, but masculine, like androgynous. And I thought, or I had this preconceived notion that really didn't have basis in reality, but that I had to act more like a man or focus on my masculine energy, lead with masculinity, put aside all my, emotional, and even to this day, I catch myself saying it and I try to because I'll be like, take emotion out of it, when I'm trying to solve something, and so I'll be like, take emotion out of it and let's, do it like this. And I'm here to apologize to that former me. You didn't know better. So now you can do better. Luckily, one of my next roles, I was headhunted into a female-led, female-owned law firm, and this lady was like the first black everything, first black woman everything, and she was very feminine, and she really mentored me to soften and embrace my femininity. There's a reason why we have masculine and feminine energy. You can't lead with masculine energy when it's not what you were born to do. You can still be powerful and still be in your feminine energy. Yes, I do acknowledge that I have a lot of masculine energy, and you need both. Every person, whether you're a woman or a man, you have masculine and feminine energy. It's just which one you lean more towards. So creativity, softness, that's more feminine. And we know a lot of men who are very creative. Right? So that's how they lean into there. And then being decisive, being focused, that's more masculine energy. But as women, we need to embrace that in order for things to move, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a long way to answer the question. Women can still lead with their feminine energy, but they have to tap into certain aspects of their masculine energy. And you don't need to be a man or to act like a man in order to make things happen. Sometimes leadership involves getting to know that person, asking those questions that a man would just be authoritarian about, But because you're a woman, you understand how things move, and you have this gentleness and softness about you, and that's how both avenues will lead you there. But you need to tap into what's naturally yours. And then you spoke about women not getting into mining and all that, and in those earlier years, the more it was like wakukona nawe mukone, I had this you know, and it still comes out from time to time. But now I realize it's not necessary. I have nothing to prove to anyone. I don't need to be aggressive, like outrightly aggressive and fight for that thing, because when you get out of law, you're normally taken into, like, if you're really lucky, you get into one of the top law firms, but you get in as interns, like maybe a group of you, and they tell you there's only one. So I entered this high profile law firm, and they took in 10 of us, and they were like, there's only one position at the end of the year. There's only one permanent position. So you're like, that position is mine. And I'll do whatever it takes to get that. I'm telling you, I would be at the photocopier. I start out in shoes like yours. By the end, I've thrown them. I'm busy photocopying folders because I cannot say no, you know? And I have work waiting for me, but I'm doing, you know, there was an office messenger. Here I am doing things for office messenger because I'm trying to prove my worth and show that I can do it. If you told me women can't mine, guess that me would also be now going to the mine to show you that women can do it too, right? So this is advice to that me who either thinks that you have to be masculine in order to succeed, or that me who feels they have something to prove, you know, or who is that saying that women can't be engineers? I will be an engineer so that I can prove, but it's not where your passion lies, right? There's nothing to prove to nobody. There's just you and the person you look at in the mirror. So if your heart truly wants to go and show people how you can dig in the mine, then please go for it. But if that's not, you don't do things just because you want to be the one who goes against the grain, you know, the rebel without a cause, or, you know, trying to prove something to somebody, some fictitious person out there. Just follow your heart, follow your instinct, follow your intuition. Look at people ahead of you. Look at women you consider powerful who are ahead of you. Read up on their autobiographies. How did they do it? How did they achieve? Because success leaves clues. Most successful people have been invited to sessions just like this one. They've talked, they've said things, they've written books. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's possible, but it cannot be done on a collective level. We cannot now change our community to view all things as possible for women. You know, we cannot change the collective to say now women should be allowed to be soldiers or be conscripted by force. You know, let us be directed by our own hearts, because you can do all things, but you can't do everything at once. So lean into your inner wisdom. Meanwhile, intuition is a feminine quality. So lean into, but intuition whispers, says, maybe you should do this. And then your fear is like, don't do it because of that. So you have to listen to the whisper over the noise, over the